is Sophia Suarez, and this is my story. Growing up, I had two sisters and a brother, and the gap between me and my brother is 5 years. So I was alone a lot, but it was a really good childhood. I have a funny story. One time my dad, he worked nights and I was like 6 or 5, and my dad said he woke up real early in the morning and he found me on the counter making cereal, and I was just a little girl. So that's a funny story that shows that I was alone, but it was a good childhood, and my parents taught me the best they could. They raised us the best they can, and I thank God for them, because without their examples of my mom's faith and my dad's worship it has made me who I am today. I remember when my family was looking for a church when I was about 7 or 8, and I came with my Aunt Lisa to Zion, now known as JCC, and I fell in love with the church, and my faith in God increased. And my dad told me that he knew that that was where we had to go, because he saw me on a Sunday morning worshiping God, singing the songs with all my heart, and he just knew that that was where we had to go. And in the next few years, my relationship with God skyrocketed. I fell in love with him, and in my worship I was free. Like, I would dance and I would shout. I didn't care who was around me. I didn't care what people thought. And to this day, I wonder where that worship went. Like, it's hard for me just to raise my hands. Why is it harder for me to shout, to dance? But I just know that to be like a child in worship is so important, and it brings freedom not only to yourself but to the people around you. So my passion grew, but as I became a teenager, my focus has changed. I got a boyfriend, and everything just changed for me. And then my brother got leukemia, and I remember it was Christmas Eve, and me and Joe had been talking about Christmas and how he had wanted it to be a white Christmas. And I agreed with him. I was like, that would be so awesome, Joe. And I remember it was Christmas Eve, and him and my mom were in the emergency room, and I was outside in the waiting room. And I looked outside, and there was snow falling from the sky. And it broke my heart, because I wanted that time with my brother to have a white Christmas. And that night at 4 p.m., my mom and my brother flew to Denver. And my dad and I had Subway sandwiches for our Christmas Eve dinner. And I just remember feeling hurt with God, and I questioned him. My faith was hurt, and I became angry, and I had all those bottled up emotions in me. Without you, my world slips away. So my freshman year, I came in with all those bottled up emotions, and it was really hard for me. And then my best friend, he just began to leave me little by little, and I felt so alone. And I began just to look around, in different groups, and I got clicked with the punk kids, and I began to go to the rock shows, and I tried to be who I wasn't. I'd force myself to cuss. I'd force myself to act not who I really was. And it was just a really tough year in my identity crisis, just trying to find who I am. And a friend of mine gave me a magazine showing an organization that goes on missions trips during the summer. And I chose New York City for 2 weeks. And those 2 weeks changed my life. My relationship with God grew, and I got a calling for missions. And my love for people grew during those 2 weeks. And, after that summer, I realized God had something more for my life, but I didn't grow deeper in my relationship with Him. I didn't make more of an effort like I should have. So I became like a Pharisee, like a hypocrite. And my senior year, I really was deceived. You know, in my heart, I was ugly, but on the outside, I looked good. I looked like a good Christian girl. But my eyes were open. Well, graduation came and I needed to make a choice for my future. And I knew I wanted something more than schooling or college. And so I decided to join Master's Commission, which is a 9-month discipleship program where you grow more in God and you just learn more about yourself. And I chose to go to Puerto Rico. Well, I went and it was the hardest decision, it was the hardest time, but it was so worth it. You know, God humbled me so much. He broke me in areas. He opened my eyes. He broke the bottled up emotions that I've been holding for so long. He's made me a new person. And now, after those 9 months are done, I've grown so much. I've seen so much. I've learned the value of God and of who He is in my life and of His Word. And I just know that my life from now on and this point is going to just be better, and I'm going to work harder, and I'm going to learn from my mistakes, and I'm going to learn, and I'm just going to keep going forward because it's all worth it. So I want to thank you for listening to my story, and I hope it has blessed you.